I didn't want to talk about it because, I really wanted to turn out successful, but I was offered the role of. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Make It Happen Dallas. I know you might be thinking this is a different location. What happened to the old place? And the truth is, I'm in New York for the weekend because I was offered an amazing opportunity. I didn't want to talk about it because, I really wanted to turn out successful, but I was offered the role of concert goer to the Jonas Brothers concert for the price of $0. That's right. Nobody's paying me to be here. Actually, there's not a role. I'm actually just visiting my friend. We're gonna go to the Jonas Brothers concert. We're both really big fans. So we were like 3 months ago, we were like, let's just buy these tickets together and have the first concert from their tour at the Yankee Stadium. So it's a really cool thing that we're doing together. Also, I always take an opportunity to go to New York. You guys already know that. But since we're all about make it happen, I was like, let's just record an episode here in New York. I've deep down inside, I've always wanted to make it happen to eventually transition to New York. So this is just like a little snippet of maybe one day I'll I'll be looking at this because I have the best view right now. I think at the end of the episode, I'm just gonna turn the camera and show you where I'm at. I'm at my friend's apartment complex, and it's in Wall Street, so I get to have this beautiful view as I'm talking of the buildings on Wall Street, and it's honestly the most inspiring thing ever. Let me take a sip of my coffee because I need it. Okay. So, today's episode is really interesting because I have a question for you. Have you ever been called selfish ever? I know I have. And I think the earliest memory that I have of being called selfish is back home in Venezuela. I think it was a family reunion. I was around like 8 or 9, and by then I already loved reading. So what happened was like my grandmother, she was the one who taught me how to read, how to write, and what she would do to encourage me was that she would be like, if you finish a chapter of this book, you'll get a Barbie. Or you'll get this prize, whatever you want from the toy store or whatever. So I was like, ooh, bet. I love reward systems. So I was like very encouraged to always read. And then when time went by, I started like actually reading by myself without needing a reward. So, hey, great parenting technique for anyone out there who has kids. But anyways, going back to the story, I was in a family reunion, and I've already told you, if you listen to my first episode, that I lived with a lot of people in one house. We're like a big commune. Like, literally, there were like, not even kidding, like 25 to 30 people at all times in that house. Um, there was just like a lot of people, a lot of kids. So I never got a time for myself. And there was this family reunion where I was at, and I was like, you know what? I really want to finish this chapter of this book because I haven't had time to finish it. And I went inside to this little corner. I opened my book. I think it was Narnia, to be honest. And then I was reading, and I was like super excited because finally I got time for myself. And then my aunt comes in, and she's so upset. So upset. She's like, Oriana, what are you doing? Go back outside. Like, you need to hang out with your aunts, hang out with your cousins. Like, don't be selfish. She said, don't be selfish. And I was like, since that day, it never sit well with me. Like that word never made sense. At the moment, I just closed my book and I went back inside, but I think it's something deeper than that, that I felt that what she said was said in such a negative way, but I didn't feel negative. I didn't feel like I was doing something wrong for the fact that, I always hang out with my family. And for wanting to spend a little alone time, I was reprimanded. So my little like 9-year old self was very confused by this. And I think it took me to my adult years where I always see the word selfish as such a negative connotation. If you think about it, if someone is, I don't know, following their career instead of, I don't know, their love life, oh, she's being so selfish, right? If, I don't know, a mom wants to go back to school, don't be selfish, you have kids, right? There's always some, like, by you doing something that you love but will affect other people, that is considered selfish and it's a bad thing, right? So I spent a lot of years, doing what everyone wanted just because I was really afraid to be called that word. And I remember, there was this girl that would tell me, "Hey, can you drive me here? Can you drive me there? Um, can you take me to this place because I don't have a car?" And I would be like, "Okay, that's fine." And then I would stop doing things that I wanted to do for my mental health, for my personal growth, because I thought, I need to be selfless. I need to help others. And the funny thing about that is that if you are not doing things for yourself, then you'll never be 100% with other people. You'll always be halfway, because you're not really happy with the growth that you're doing, with the work that you're doing on yourself. So I think I spent so many years worried about doing stuff for other people when I should have just been doing things for myself, saying no, saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm actually going to go to the thrift store, or I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to do this. And later we can help you out, or later we can do this," right? Being selfish doesn't mean, I don't even want to say selfish. I like the word self full. You're full of love for yourself. You're full of like, passion for doing the things that you love. So I think when we talk about selfish or selfful, it's not about not helping people. It's not about not being there for your friend. Like, you will always be there for your friend if they need you. But it's about putting yourself first, because if you're not helping yourself, you will never be 100% with someone else. So, I don't know. I think we should reframe to say words like selfish in a negative connotation and start saying like, wow, yeah, you get to be selfish right now. And even like when you say your 20s are to be selfish, it still feels weird to me. That's why I'm officially changing the word to selfful, because it just feels more wholesome and more, feel good. But, anyways, this episode is going to be great because we're going to talk about a bucket list for the end of the summer for self-full activities that you can do for yourself and by yourself. So this is like the hot girl self-full bucket list we're all been waiting for. But first, before we get into that, let me ask you a mindful question like we always do. Have you been ever called selfish for something that you really like to do, that you were passionate about doing? And how did that sit with you when they called you that? Okay, we are back and we're gonna talk about this self-food bucket list. Self-food, yeah, great. Self-full bucket list for the end of summer. I know by the time you hear this is gonna be August, but I consider August the end of summer, technically. It was funny because I was actually talking to a friend yesterday and we were like, when does summer end? It turns out it ends in September 23rd, which I refuse to accept. So I think August is the end of summer. So this is how you can spend August being more selfful, more mindful, and more aware of the things that you want and not what everyone else wants you to do. So let's start with the first one. It's very easy. I've been against this for a while, but take your own conclusions. The first one is take an hour bath. Listen, I was never a fan of bath because whenever I did them, I think I did them wrong. So like my bath is not big enough for me. So it was like I was still cold because part of me was like outside. So I didn't feel as relaxed. But if you do have a nice tub, I fully recommend for you to go all in this bath situation, because once you take that good bath, it's all good. I think you need to make sure that you fit in. That's the first thing. The second thing, you need to make sure that it's actually like hot and that it won't like go down, because if not, it's just like really embarrassing. um you should have candles, you should have some bath bombs. I think you should like put work into it, because sometimes we say we try things but we don't really put our 100% effort in it. So just take a bath. It doesn't have to be an hour, but make sure that you put a little care in how you make your bath. Trust me, it's worth it. I'm a bath person now, so try it out. Trust me. Second thing is go to a place you've never been before. I'm having this problem lately that me and my partner always go to the same places. Like, you get in your comfort zone sometimes, and that's fine because you want to have those places that feel comfy, feel like home. But sometimes it's good to get yourself out there. And I'm not saying it's going to be a great experience. Maybe you go to this ramen restaurant and it sucks. But I think that's the fun part of it, because you're creating a memory. And every time that you remember that, you remember who you were with and what you guys thought of the food. And it was horrible, but afterwards you took a walk and it was great. So just try a place, not even a restaurant, but like a coffee shop, a park, just a place or an experience that you've never done before this summer that you always wanted to try. Third thing, spend a day doing nothing. For my overachievers and high maintenance people like me, this one is hard. I did it one time, literally one time, like a month ago. And it's crazy how much, like how good your body reacts to doing absolutely nothing. And our overproductive self and mind is always going to tell us you need to get up. It's a Saturday. Why are you not out there? Why are you not enjoying the day, taking advantage of the day? But that's just what society is telling you to do. That's what you see on Instagram. That's what you see on TikTok. Girlies just walking around with their flowers. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love those kind of days. But once in a while, it's good to have a day where you absolutely don't do anything. You're laying in your bed like a potato, and it's going to be fine. Um, I challenge you to do nothing. I think it's even harder than doing a lot of things. Okay, this one is very personal to me. It's not very general one, but I really wanted to organize a sip and paint, if not attend one. We were actually talking that this Sunday in New York, they're doing a sip and paint at the park. And I'm really sad that I don't get to go, because actually it was today. Yeah, it was today. But we're not going to have time because we have the concert. But I think it's really easy to organize if you go to Amazon. Literally, the canvases, the teasels, I think that's what it called, and the paint, it was no more than $20. And dividing that with your girlfriends, six of them, you just put it on the table, you buy a little cover, and you get to organize a little sip and paint with whatever's people's drink of choice. This is very like specific, so you don't really have to do it, but I've always wanted to do that, so that is in my bucket list. Okay. Next one is take a mini solo vacation. I know what you're thinking. Wait, so like I have to save up to pay for another vacation just for myself. It's going to be more expensive. I don't mean you need to go to Dubai or you need to go to Spain by yourself. I mean, by all means, if you want to, go for it. But sometimes a mini solo vacation can be either just going an hour away to another town or 30 minutes to a new area. Just take a day for yourself where you go, where you actually like get in your car, travel somewhere different. The next one I haven't been able to do, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Go technology free for one weekend. This is honestly really hard, but I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've been really obsessed with my phone lately. I literally cannot put it down. And whenever I don't have it, like whenever I was in my plane and I couldn't like access internet, I was like feeling anxious to get on there and just like scroll. So sometimes we need to take a break when we know something is making us anxious if we don't have them, right? It's an obsession. It's like how you get obsessed with either drinking, smoking. You can get obsessed with those social media. So if you're in the same boat as me, take, if not just a weekend, just a Sunday where you literally won't look at your phone. Maybe let your family members know that you're doing this so they don't get scared. But yeah. Okay, let's see what's next. Uh, this one, I've actually done this one. So, wake up really early and watch the sunrise. Um, this is very simple. There's no really like a lot of science behind it. It's just so mindful to wake up when the sun does. I don't know. I did this one time and I was just with my coffee and I was like, oh, I think the sun rises right now. So I just go out there and I don't know. It was a really like meditative moment for me. And, it's summer, so we get to actually go outside when it's early in the morning and not freeze to death. So why not do it now? Okay, next one, start that project. And I say that because it's that project. You know what it is. You know what project you've been wanting to start for a while, but you didn't want to because you're scared. And that's okay. I was scared to start this podcast. So if you're scared, the worst thing that could happen is that you could fail. And it's not even the worst thing because I think if you fail, then you just pivot to something else. And if you wanted to start something, but you didn't have the resources, didn't have the money, didn't have the support, this is your time to do it. It's summer, anything can happen. Fall, everything gets more serious. So imagine if you start now, how would you be in 5 months? And would you look back and say, thank God I started this? So start the project that you always wanted to start. Let's see. This one, it's silly, but it says dress to feel good. Sometimes I get dressed at home and I'm not really going anywhere. It might be silly to some people, but whenever I look good to myself, I feel good. And sometimes that's just like inspiring. Sometimes I want to work on stuff and I get ready to work on stuff. I don't stay in my pajamas. I actually like change. Doesn't work for a lot of people, but for me, it works wonders. Um, Next one is splurge on the one thing that you love to buy. Hey, save up a couple $100. For some people, it's shoes. For some people, it's purses. For some people, is I don't know, collectibles. Um, Take one day where you splurge on whatever you want. Some people might think this is, quote unquote selfish, but that's what we're doing this for, right? Just take a day. If you've never do this before, like save up some money. Obviously, don't do it irresponsibly, and just splurge. I think for me, it would be just clothes. That's what gets me. But you splurge on whatever you want. Okay, 3 left to go. Take a midday nap after a hot shower. I don't know if you ever just get home and take off your bra and it feels great, or take off your heels and it feels great. This is something like that. After a tired day, when I get a hot shower and take a nap, I'm not even a nap person, but like after a hot shower, I'm so clean and the bed is warm, but outside it's cold. I don't know. That's just the best feeling in the world. If you haven't done that, what are you doing? This is the time, especially because it's hot outside. Last two things, say no for the first time. It's hard. Like I said at the beginning, I used to say yes to everything. Now I actually feel very happy when I say no. And I used to think, what is the other person going to think? What are they going to feel that I'm like canceling? Just cancel. Hey, what's not for you is not for you. And then the other one, contradictory, I know, say yes without asking. This is for all the people that usually are too afraid, like don't want to get out of the comfort zone and usually are like, oh, but who's going to be there? But like, what am I going to wear? Say yes without asking. Just go somewhere. And I'm not guaranteeing that that would be a good experience, but it will be an experience. It's better than having experiences that no experiences at all. And that creates memories that you can laugh about at a dinner party about. You're like, oh, guys, let me tell you about this one time that I went to this clown festival and I had the worst time. And it will be a great conversation starter. And like I said on the last one, if you're someone that usually says just yes to everything and is afraid to say no, just say more no. It honestly just depends on how you are. But that's it for the selfful bucket list, a lot of selfful activities that if anyone tells you that you can't do this, well, I wish I could curse more on this podcast, but yeah, F them. So thank you so much for coming and for liking this new location. I promised you that I was going to show you my view to the buildings, so I will just go ahead and do that. It's actually just not even that clear. Hopefully you can see that actually. But essentially I just have a lot of buildings and it might not be a lot to some people, but you know, to me, it's worth it. So thank you. I'll see you again on the next episode. We have a great guest episode that you cannot miss. I'll just hint, just Google it. That's it. Okay. I'll see you next week. Bye.